Hello and welcome back to Rue's Slow Living. Look at those beautiful crocus bulbs. I have over the last few years sown various bulbs under this oak tree for a real succession of spring colour. And this week I'm just showing you a few of the things that I've been getting up to, so there's no real theme. I've been doing so much more with Pippa, and her training is coming along beautifully. She's such an intelligent girl, and I can't believe that we've owned her for just over a year already. And the horses are doing absolutely fine, but I'm sure they're looking forward to the spring grass coming through. I'm being mindful to eat more regularly and some really nice healthy meals, and those are beautiful fresh eggs from our chickens. And this is the most glorious day. It's a place I hadn't been to before. I went with my swim buddy Jules and we had a wonderful 25-minute swim. Look at those swans. And then we had an hour in this beautiful wood-fired sauna, which has, as you can see, a glass front so you can look out onto the lake. And we did our sauna, cold plunge, and a few of those. Felt so revitalised, and then we had a picnic before we drove home, and it was just delightful. I, as mentioned in previous videos, have been putting more movement and exercise into my daily routine. I do go to see my fabulous PT instructor once a week, but I try to fit what I can into the days that I can, and if for any reason I can't go for my weekly session there, I always make sure that I work out from home. And yes, I am wearing my slippers. So one of my problems about working out from home was I just used to get bored. So now, instead of, getting on the rowing machine and trying to stay on it for 20-30 minutes, which is so dull, I just rotate around doing some weight exercise and then just a minute or two on the rowing machine. And I'll sometimes bring my yoga mat out as well, so I can do some stretches as well. And some core work, but I'm actually doing a 10-day course. It was free, I've signed up to it, which is incorporating, it's the Alexander technique, and it's constructive rest. And I knew I was going to be doing that, so I've got the yoga mat in the house at the moment, and you'll see a little bit of that coming up. So I'd done about a 20-minute workout, and this was me doing my constructive rest. This was day 2. There are live sessions once or twice on most days, but I did the catch up on this day because I've been out doing other things. And as you can see, Pepper thinks it's really useful to join in.
Position of your head. Perhaps that position of your head has changed a little.
So here I am in the polytunnel again. It's absolutely glorious again. We are getting minus temperatures overnight, but coming up into double figures during the day. And here in the polytunnel at the moment, it's 24.4 degrees. It's lovely. And what I want to get done here in the polytunnel is I've taken some geranium cuttings, pelargoniums, and I'm going to get them into these little pots. So there's multiple ways of taking these cuttings, and you can do them anytime you feel. I often get mine done ready for winter and have them on the windowsills, but I didn't. You can sit them in a little bit of water until you see the roots and then put them into pots. And for me, that's the most successful way of doing it. But I haven't got as much time. I do already have some plants. One I've lost, but I've got 5. I think I had 8, so I've got 7. I've taken 6 cuttings and I'm just going to put them straight into the soil. I think I'll leave them in here, but I'll be keeping an eye out. And I do have these little incubators, propagators. You can tell I'm a veterinary nurse. They're not incubating, they're propagating. And I can cover them up with those, but make sure that I lift them off on days like today because they just don't need them. And I'll also give you a little update on the freesia bulbs that I planted the other day. So I'm sure you know how to do this. Let me find a little, I used to have a little stick. I don't know what I've done with it. Aha, I know what I can use. A pencil. So with my pencil, I'm going to make a little hole, and then I'm just going to nip out one of the leaves because I don't want that one, and there's a little bit of dead stuff there. And then I'm going to pop it in, and it's that simple. So let's move on. And the leaves that I take off, I can actually feed to Victor because geraniums or pelargoniums are safe for tortoises. And at this time of the year, I'm always looking for sort of extra things to give to him because we haven't got all the things that I normally forage for him are not quite there yet. We've got some dandelions, few dandelion flowers, but the main staple part of his diet, which is plantain, hasn't really started coming through yet. One, two, three, 4, 5. I clearly can't count because unless I've dropped one, I've only got 5. That's cool. I quite like even numbers. So with the 7, I've got 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Nice even number. And that compost can go back into my tub. So I'll hold on to those 2 little leaves and I'll add some bits and pieces to them. For Victor, I'll do a little walk round and see what I can forage for him. But it's that simple. There they are. So they just need a little water. So I'm going to pop them in a drip tray, which I'm actually going to give a little bang because there we go. I haven't cleaned it. And you know what? I've really changed the way I garden. I was getting swept along with these perfect gardens and allotment plots, doing everything the right way and cleaning all my equipment. And you know what? I'd stopped enjoying it. So long as things are growing and so long as I'm getting joy from it, it really doesn't matter. And everybody's different. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. What I'm saying is it's right for me. So I'll give you a little tour in a minute of where we're up to or where we're not up to. And actually, there are advantages and disadvantages of the way I've been doing things. But actually, there's far more advantages than disadvantages of me having not done as much over the winter months. So let's get these little guys a water. And it's just a multi-purpose compost, and there is some vermiculite in there. Holds the moisture, and I also find it makes my compost go further. And there they are. So I'm just going to leave them in the sunlight for now. But as I say, I'm going to keep an eye on the temperatures, and I can pop a little cover over them if I need to. So let's go on a little tour after I've had some more coffee. So we may as well start here in the polytunnel. I need to give these another water. These are the bulbs that I popped in, the freesia bulbs. And what I've been doing is, on those colder nights, whoop, wrong way up, I've got 2 sheets of bubble wrap that I've saved. Sorry, I'm trying to hold you in one hand and do the bubble wrap in the other. Probably should have put you down somewhere. So I'm just covering them up. And then when I come in the mornings, I whip it off, but I am popping it back on overnight because, as I say, the temperatures are dropping. There's a little pansy coming up here. Isn't that delightful? I've also got some thistles and some moss, but there's some more pansies as well. There's nothing in this basket apart from a couple of weeds. There's some pots there that had potatoes in that are all empty now. A pot with some weeds in. I'm trying to remember what this even was. I can't remember. Dead. There were some sweet peas that were up this pole. Empty pot. So, you know, really not a huge amount going on in here at the moment. There's a little bit of chard here. The remains of the straw flowers. Just empty baskets. The remnants of the peppermint chard, which was wonderful. There's a few beetroots still left, so I'm going to get those up. Chard there that's pretty much gone. There's a few little leaves in the middle. And this beautiful, let me move you so you can see it. Look at this delightful curly kale. And we've got some lovely grass growing in the corner there. So let's go out of the polytunnel and we'll have a look around. So flower bed there definitely needs some weeding. I'll talk to you about the paths in a minute. I've taken off the brassica hoops and netting from here. Still got a few bits and bobs going, but I'll take the best off those. There is a little bit of peppermint chard there, and then I'll clear this bed. These beds just need a weed. And I've started weeding this bed. So I'm going to concentrate on the second half today. And then the other thing that I've been doing is I've taken the cage that was around the raspberries. I've taken that down and they've all had a little chop. And I've hung on to what I've chopped because they're really great for growing peas and the like up. So, little overall look. It's not looking too bad. It's not looking perfect. But let's hop into the shed. And I'm still loving my little birdhouse. So, first thing you might notice is this beautiful bunting, which normally goes on the shed. I didn't want to put it out quite yet. Thank you, Kay. I have to thank you every year. It's just delightful. She made it specially after I'd painted the shed yellow and grey, and look how beautiful it is. So I've got it behind me. It does need a little iron, but I don't want to put it out yet because we've still got some pretty wet and windy weather coming. So it'll go out a bit later in the spring. I do need to have a little tidy in here, but it's not bad, and I do know where everything is, which is great. So what have I found? By doing less, I have been getting out adventuring. I've been out on little camping trips, I've been doing more wild swimming and walking. Little Pippa takes up quite a lot of my time, and of course I have to fit all that in around work, alongside the fact that I'm not going to bang on about it, but my chronic migraines have really flared up. So what I've decided, and I've learned some lessons from this, is by not spending the winter months absolutely getting the plot to look immaculate and ripping everything out. And you know what I would normally do is weed all those beds, completely take everything out, cover them with card, fresh compost on top, and then they're ready to plant into the spring. But there's a couple of things that I've found by not doing that. One is I would have pulled out all those lovely brassicas, which you've actually been able to still keep taking little bits and pieces from. So that's a massive plus. Often I end up weeding a second time anyway, because you know there's inevitably going to be weed seeds, and the spring starts to come, and there's a few warmer days, and things are just slowly creeping. So instead of weeding twice, I'm only weeding once. There's other factors that go into that, like the cost of buying all the compost, when during the winter months I need to be putting more money really into feeding the horses and the chickens, and I mean they need feeding all year round, but in the winter we really have to ramp it up. And then also fuel for our wood burner, because it is our only source of heating. It runs the radiators and the hot water, and without that wood burner, or it's a multi-fuel burner actually, going, we don't have. So instead of spending money on compost, it made more sense to spend it on those things that we need. Now we're coming into the spring, the weather's warming up, those costs will start to reduce, so I'm going to have the money to put into my compost. But also for my mental health. I used to have to keep it immaculate, and actually, why? Who said? Of course, it's an absolute pleasure and delight to see these pristine allotment plots and gardens. But if my plot is productive, and it's my plot, and it's not particularly open to the public, yes, I show it to you guys, but you're not going to judge me. If it's productive and it's producing the vegetables for me to cook wholesome meals, does it really matter that it's not as tidy? So one of the things I'm going to do, which is also a positive that's come out of this, I've been trying so hard to keep on top of the grass that is coming through my bark paths. When I first put them in, they were beautiful. But actually, how environmentally friendly is it, and sustainable to the planet and also me and my back and my health, to have to just keep doing that? And all that work, all that time weeding out the pathways, remulching them with bark, I could be weeding the beds and planting and growing. Bing! Light bulb moment. So I'm just going to leave them, and then I can either put the strimmer over them or put the mower on a higher setting and just let the grass come through, mow them down. And then the other thing I'm going to be doing slowly but surely is, I'd originally edged all of my beds with logs and bits of wood that I'd found around the farm, and they really did look pretty, but number one, they're starting to rot and fall apart, but number two, they're just slug hotels, aren't they? So I've made these lovely beds and I plant into them, and then I get upset because the slugs and snails come in and eat everything. But effectively, I've encouraged them. I've said, here you go, here's some beautiful little slug hotels. In you all come. I might as well have put a flag up saying, you know, slugs and snails this way. You know, they've got food on tap, there's a permanent buffet for them, and then they've got somewhere to retreat and stay safe. So I'm not going to rip them all up at once, but slowly but surely, as I'm doing each bed, I'll be taking that wood away. And then what I'll probably do with it is find an area away from my vegetables, but I'm going to make a little wood stack, and that will become a lovely little habitat for bugs and things, which also will encourage things in that direction and not onto my plot. Lots of other plans, but I'm not going to bore you with them all now. So I hope that you've enjoyed this mindful and slow week, just showing you a few of the bits and bobs that I've been getting up to. But this slower lifestyle, being in the moment, not sweating the small stuff, so much better for my mental health and also better for my physical health. So I hope you're all well. Let me know in the comments below what you're up to. I love hearing from you. I've had some really, really lovely comments recently, and it really does make me so happy. It fills my soul. So thank you. The other thing is, if you want to comment on the sound, I have had sound issues over the years, but I have invested in a new microphone system, and I'm really, really hoping that you will have clearer and sharper sound, because I am aware that my sound has been a bit dodgy and intermittent. I did have another wireless setup and it was great for a while, but I don't know what happened to it. It's just not great. So I've invested in this nice new setup and I'm hoping it'll make a difference. So do let me know if you think it has or if you haven't noticed at all. But at least, if you can hear me, that's all good. So I'm rambling. I'm going to go. But what I want to say is a massive thank you as ever for watching. Take care and I'll see you all again really, really soon.